If you've ever felt attracted to a woman and wanted more than just friends, but you hesitated to make a move because you're not sure whether she's sexually interested in you, or worse, you've made a move only to be rejected or called a creep, you're going to love this. Knowing when a woman is attracted and open to a move versus simply being friendly is where men get it wrong. You've been burned before, so you stop trusting your instincts and yourself, and instead you're waiting for her to make it, 100% painfully, certainly obvious, which, as you know, women never do. And by then, the opportunity's passed and you've lost another one. Today, I'm breaking down 8 body language signs of sexual attraction. We'll start with the obvious ones and move into the subtle signs most men are missing. And even the obvious ones have deeper nuances that most videos never explain. This isn't your stock standard dating advice video because I'm not just going to name the signs like all the other attention-seeking female dating gurus. I'm going to show you the difference between the version that means nothing and the version that actually signals attraction. You've heard that playing with her hair means she's attracted, but what kind of hair touching? When does it matter? And when does it mean nothing? And by the end, you'll have a practical framework for telling the difference between a random gesture, simple friendliness, or a pattern that says she genuinely wants you. Now, before we get into the first sign, I want you to understand this. One signal on its own is not proof that a woman is sexually attracted to you, but it isn't meaningless either. It's just one piece of a matrix of information. What matters is whether her behavior changes after she notices you, whether it repeats, and whether other signals begin supporting it. She might do something all night because it's simply a habit. But if the behavior begins or intensifies when you enter the picture, now it deserves your attention. So don't just make a decision from one isolated gesture. Look for the change, the timing, and the pattern. All right, sign number 1, the hair touching myth. Let's start with this one that everybody knows. You've probably heard that if a woman plays with her hair, she's attracted to you. Maybe, but not necessarily. Some women just play with their hair constantly. They chew gum and pull at it and twist it around their fingers and let their eyes wander equally around the room, including occasionally toward you. That is probably just her normal behavior. The difference is where her attention keeps returning. If she looks at you, holds the eye contact for a moment, and then looks away, and then begins slowly playing with her hair while checking back towards you, now the behavior has direction. And don't only watch for it while you're looking straight at her, it's crucial to learn to use your peripheral vision as a man. When you're talking to someone else nearby, can you feel her eyes returning to you? Is she watching while she plays with her hair and adjusts it and twirls it, or gently just pulls at it? Because that is very different from a woman chewing gum and playing with her hair and scattering her attention equally across the entire environment. The hair touching alone is weak. The real signal is the combination of the hair movement, repeated attention, and eye contact directed specifically at you. So don't ask, is she playing with her hair? The question to ask is, who is she playing with it for? All right, sign number 2, the lip signal. You've also probably heard that biting or licking your lips can mean attraction. And unlike the hair thing, this one has some actual biology behind it. You see, when a woman feels nervous, excited, or even sexually aroused, her nervous system activates. Her mouth can become slightly dry, so she may unconsciously wet her lips, press them together, or gently bite the lower lip. But again, context matters. If she's been licking her lips for the last 20 minutes because she forgot her lip balm, that's not sexual attraction. You need to watch when the behavior appears and if it's directional. Does it happen after you hold eye contact a little longer? After you tease her? When the conversation becomes more personal? Or the sexual tension starts to rise? And watch where her eyes go. Does she glance down at your mouth and wet or bite her own lips and then look back into your eyes? Now her body may be revealing what her words are not. And some women know exactly what they're doing. They create movement around their mouth because they know men notice movement. Although, to be fair, us men can stare into a fully stocked fridge for 5 minutes and still not find the butter unless it starts waving at us. So she may need to help you out there. The deeper signal is not simply that she touched her lips, it's that it happens during a charged emotional moment while her attention is clearly directed towards you. All right, sign number 3, shy glances. And so many men are missing this one, it's ridiculous. So in a social setting, a short pattern of glancing might be an invitation, or one glance might mean nothing. She could just be scanning the room, looking past you, or just sizing up everyone in the room. So don't catch one accidental glance and immediately start mentally undressing a man. Just calm down. But when she looks at you, looks away, and then her eyes return to you again a few moments later, that is different. The first glance notices you. The second and third glance, they reveal that something about your presence just keeps pulling her attention back. And most of the time, this isn't some calculated seduction technique. She's probably not even consciously aware that she's doing it. And even if she is aware, the impulse is involuntary. Because if your presence makes her feel something, curiosity or nervousness or attraction, her attention naturally wants to return to the source of that feeling. And it's going to take real effort for her to manually override that impulse and force herself not to look. But here's the real amplifier. Watch what her eyes do immediately after you catch her. Does she simply look sideways and continue scanning the room? Or do her eyes drop down and her chin dip slightly and her body suddenly becomes a little more shy and self-conscious? Because looking down can be a much stronger signal than simply looking sideways. It suggests that she did not just notice you, but she felt her secret was being exposed when you noticed it back. And the real bonus is whether she blushes, because blushing is difficult to manufacture and it's even harder to suppress. Her nervous system is just reacting before she can get herself back under control. She didn't intend to feel something with you, but you made her feel it. And now her impulsive glances are exposing her, and then the blush confirms it. All outside of control. The glance followed by the downward look, followed by a blush. Man, that's the holy fuck moment. It doesn't mean that she has guaranteed you anything, but it is a powerful sign that your presence just hit her system hard. Most men never act on it because they don't realize it is an invitation. They doubt themselves, they look away, and they wait for her to make it even more painfully obvious. But here's the nuance. An invitation itself does not mean she will, handle your approach perfectly. She might become shy, she might feel embarrassed because she's surrounded by friends or colleagues or family. She may suddenly feel exposed because the man she was secretly watching has now walked over. So biologically, she may be inviting an approach, but executing that successfully still requires calibration. Now, before the fourth subtle signal, if you found reading women's signals hard and you've either hated yourself for missing opportunities or made crucial mistakes because of it, there's a free school for that. It's called Magnetic Man Dating. It's completely free to join, man, and it's a supportive, fun community full of like-minded men all working on this together. The link's going to be down below, so come join us there. All right, sign number 4, the feminine head tilt. Now, a woman tilting her head does not automatically mean she is sexually attracted to you. The same way if a dog does it. Sometimes she's simply listening, sometimes she's concentrating, and sometimes she's trying to hear you over the ambience. But watch what happens to the rest of her when she does it. Does she keep her body stiff and simply angle her ear towards you? Or does her expression soften? Does her chin lower slightly again and her eyes stay connected to yours and her body begins leaning in? Because that's a very different signal. A basic head tilt says, I'm listening. A slower, softer head tilt held with eye contact says, I'm receiving you. It can expose the side of her neck, which is a naturally more vulnerable, sexual, and inviting feminine posture. But again, the neck alone is not the important part. The important part is that her whole energy becomes softer and warmer and more receptive around you. She's no longer sitting there rigidly analyzing every word in her head. She's relaxing into her body in the interaction. And when that head tilt appears alongside some sustained eye contact and a softer expression and her body moving slightly closer, that's when it starts to carry some weight. Sign number 5 is unconscious synchronization. Now, you've probably heard this called mirroring, but it's not always as obvious as crossing your legs and her copying you 2 seconds later. It's more like the two of you gradually falling into the same rhythm, but with you leading. You lean in, she leans in, you slow down and become more relaxed, she softens with you. You take a drink, a few seconds later, she does the same. Your posture opens and hers begins to open too. This is not necessarily proof of sexual attraction on its own. Friends, family, and people who feel comfortable together do it as well. But when it appears alongside the eye contact, the proximity, and the other signals that we're covering today, it tells you she is emotionally attuned to you. Her body is starting to follow your lead before she has consciously decided to. Now, do not turn the interaction into a science experiment. Don't start touching your face or crossing your arms and drinking every 10 seconds to see whether she copies you, because you'll stop being present and you'll start behaving like a lunatic. Instead, lead the energy naturally. Become a little warmer, slower, or more playful, and notice whether she comes with you. Because the important signal, again, is not whether she copies one movement, it's whether the two of you begin moving and speaking and responding like you're inside the same interaction and bubble while everyone else is outside it. All right, sign number 6, and I call this coincidental proximity. It's more subtle than a woman simply walking straight over and standing beside you. Because a woman who is interested in you will often keep finding herself nearby in social settings. She might move closer to the conversation that you're having with someone else. She might stand near the bar just when you're there. She might position herself just in front of you or beside you, or sometimes even with her back towards you. She's not always facing you or making it obvious. In fact, that's kind of the whole point. What she's doing is putting herself close enough for something to happen with you naturally, while still being able to tell herself and her friends it was completely accidental. Women love leaning into that plausible deniability. She can enter your space without having to openly admit that she wants your attention and without taking the full risk of walking over and approaching you herself. Now, once means nothing. You're both in the same room. People move around. But if you keep leaving one area, or she does, and then somehow ends up near you again, and especially if this starts happening after you've made eye contact or become aware of each other, man, pay attention. Ask yourself whether she had 10 other places that she could have stood, but repeatedly chose the one that put her inside your orbit. And sometimes, like I said, she'll turn her back towards you. Men often read that as disinterest, but she may simply just be making herself available without having to stare directly at you and make the whole thing painfully obvious. She's making it easier for you to speak to her, man, easier for eye contact to just happen again naturally, easier for the interaction to begin naturally. So the signal is not just that she moved closer once, it's that she keeps creating proximity, then giving you the opportunity to do something with it as the man, because proximity creates the opportunity. So what do most men do here? Look, they feel the pull. They notice that she keeps ending up nearby, or they don't even notice. But then they freeze. They wait for an even greener light, waiting for a light so obvious it burns their eyes out. But that light doesn't appear, man. She's giving you all the signs. At some point, you have to act on the pull and risk the rejection. There's no way around that. You don't need some perfect pickup line. You just need a natural way into the interaction. Sometimes it can be as easy as starting a conversation with the person that she's already talking to. Then you can let the interaction open up from there and focus your attention on her. But you have to move, because if she keeps creating the opportunities for you and you keep waiting for certainty, eventually she assumes you're not interested, or she thinks you're just too much of a pussy to act. And once she thinks that, it's super difficult to recover. All right, sign number 7 is presenting her body. And the last one after that is the most powerful sign of all, so stick with it here, we're nearly there. Now, as attraction builds, a woman may start repositioning herself so that you notice more of her. The soft version of this is her posture opening up. She uncrosses her arms, she turns towards you, she shows more of her palms and her inner wrists, moves her hair away from her neck and exposes it more to you, and becomes physically more open. But the more sexual version is harder to miss. She may sit taller, arch slightly, lean forward, adjust her clothing, cross or reposition her legs, or bring her body together in a way that accentuates her cleavage. Sometimes she knows exactly what she's doing. Other times, attraction changes the way she holds and presents herself before she's even consciously thought about it. But just remember, a woman wearing a low-cut top tells you nothing about whether she's attracted to you. The signal, again, is the change. Was she sitting normally before, then suddenly started arranging her body differently once your interaction became warmer? Did she begin placing more of herself inside your visual field? Most men either stare at her breasts like they've never seen a woman before, or they become so nervous they pretend she has no body at all. Do neither of them. Notice what she is showing you. Stay composed, keep normal eye contact, let her feel that you see her as a sexual woman without making her feel like a piece of meat. Now, if you notice some of these 7 signals, then now comes the touch. And now we come to the most powerful sign number 8, the touch test. And the question isn't simply, did she touch me? The question is, did she need to? Because if you're in a crowded bar and she bumps into you, that means nothing. If she taps your shoulder because you can't hear her, that might be completely practical. But if she laughs and puts her hand on your arm or brushes past you when there was plenty of space, or finds small reasons to make contact when words would have worked perfectly well, she may be testing what physical contact feels like between you. And she's not only creating contact, she's checking whether you welcome it or shrink away from it like many men do. Then there's the less subtle version, the nipple brush. Women are generally very aware of where their breasts are. If she slowly brushes her nipple across your arm when there was plenty of space not to, don't be naive, man. She almost certainly knows what she's doing. Sometimes she's just horny. Sometimes she enjoys creating sexual tension and might be doing it with more than one man in the venue, because women are aware that most men freeze. It becomes a game for her. So don't immediately assume you've found your future wife. But don't pretend it was nothing either. This is one of those signals that can be so sexual, the man completely freezes. He knows what just happened, but he's so scared of misreading it that he acts like he felt nothing, or he goes too far the other way and starts pouring at her because he thinks one touch means full permission. Both are wrong. Don't flinch. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't suddenly turn into an 8-arm octopus. Stay relaxed. Let her know through your eyes and your composure that you noticed and that you're comfortable with the sexual tension. Then, when the moment naturally allows it, you have to be willing to escalate back. Because if she keeps opening the physical door and you keep standing there pretending you can't see it, eventually she's going to close it. Now, the key that unlocks all of these 8 signals is that you're not looking for one isolated gesture. You're looking for a change in her behavior, repetition, and several signs beginning to point in the same direction. And sometimes she'll be talking to somebody else while doing it. She may be laughing with a girlfriend, but checking whether you're watching, touching her hair, opening her posture, or repeatedly placing herself where you can see her. The interaction may look like it's happening with another person, all while the performance is actually for you. Her body will often reveal attraction long before she's willing to say it directly. But man, these signs are not a guarantee. They're just an invitation to find out. At some point, you still have to trust the pattern. Do your role as the man and make the goddamn move, and risk being wrong, because certainty only arrives after you act, not before. So how would you like to learn how to act on these signals without making the approach awkward or creepy? Then hit that subscribe bell, because that exact video is in the list. Now, go out, man, and practice, and let me know in the comments how you go with this. I reply personally, so go and practice, drop a comment. All right, fellas, I'll see you in the next one.